Hey guys. Welcome to Secrets Behind the Stars. Settle in, because tonight we're diving into the whispers lighting up the celebrity grapevine, and you'll want to hear every word. Don't forget to subscribe to Secrets Behind the Stars and share this video so more fans can catch up on what's really going on behind the smiles and red carpets. Thank you for being here. Now, let's talk about the talk, because the talk is all about Cenk, Torun and Mahassine Merabet. It started quietly, the way the strongest tremors do, as a murmur from people who know what happens when the cameras stop rolling and the studio doors close. You know how it goes, a friend hears a confidence, another friend repeats it with a sparkle in the eye, and suddenly the whole set is buzzing. This time, it was Cenk who let down his guard while relaxing with his inner circle. The word that slipped out wasn't just sweet, it was seismic. He spoke about Mahassine in a tone that made every listener sit a little straighter. According to those closest to him, he used a phrase that has stuck to the rumor mill like perfume on silk: marriage with Mahassine is very close. And just like that, a relationship that had been carefully nurtured away from prying eyes leaped right into the spotlight again. Let's rewind. Their story didn't begin with a tabloid splash, it began on set. A shared project, long hours under harsh lights, and two professionals who know how to build a scene, and how to be gentle with a scene partner's heart. On screen, their chemistry was natural, effortless. Off-screen, that warmth didn't feel like a performance. What started as the kind of friendship that keeps you going through exhausting call times and late-night reshoots started deepening between takes. People noticed the way Cenk looked at her when she wasn't aware, and how Mahassine seemed calmer when he was near. They didn't shout it from the rooftops. They didn't need to. What they had was steady, present, and slowly growing into something that didn't want to be hidden, even if discretion made it stronger. For months, both of them chose their words carefully in interviews. Cenk kept it light, talking about work, dodging the private questions with a practiced smile. Mahassine did the same, her elegance intact, her eyes saying more than she let slip. When asked about each other, they radiated a kind of respectful affection that felt impossible to fake. But lately, something shifted. That deliberate quiet began to melt. Cenk's friends say he refers to her as his life partner, and that's not just a phrase you toss out like confetti. In quieter moments, he has been telling those he trusts that everything in his life is taking shape. And he means the shape it takes when someone else's presence makes sense of your own. They are both working hard, no question. He's been focused, measuring his steps, choosing significant projects with the ease of a man who has done the math and knows the path he wants. She's been unwavering, ambitious without apology, the kind of artist who protects her craft and values serenity more than spectacle. Who knew that between premieres and flights, between table reads and fittings, they kept carving out pockets of time to be together, shared breakfasts before set calls, readings of scripts across small tables, small notes left behind. It's not the sort of love story that leaves footprints across paparazzi corridors every weekend. It's the kind that plants trees in private. And then came the rumors that made even the most skeptical commentators pause: the families have met. Not at a public gala, not for the cameras, but in settings where laughter is more important than lighting. Sources say the families approved, or better yet, felt relief as if they had been waiting to exhale. If you know anything about how these things go, you know that family approval doesn't guarantee an engagement, but it's a door opening with a hopeful creak. Let's talk about the vacations, too, the weekends away that somehow slip past the lens. The short escapes from the city, the quiet resorts where the staff know how to guard a secret. They returned refreshed, shoulders lighter, eyes speaking of conversations that went deeper than schedules and scripts. And it is in these breathers, whispers say, that tentative discussions turned into the kind that start with if and end with when. Why did the latest spark hit so loudly? Because Cenk has always sidestepped the marriage question, and he's sidestepped it not because he doesn't believe in it, but because he respects timing. That's what makes this different. The same man who kept his private life guarded as a sanctuary is now, in carefully chosen company, using words that clang like bells. People who have heard him up close say his smile is different when he mentions Mahassine. That his voice softens. That he's no longer talking about the future like a maze, but like a map that has found its compass. On social media, the fans are playing chorus. Comments are sparkling under their photos. When they post individual shots, fans read between the lines. There are captions about patience, about trust, about journeys, and people piece together the puzzle. The most compatible couple of the year, some say. May this love have a happy ending, others write, as if online blessings can smooth the path. The energy is celebratory, and it pours over them like confetti, even if they keep walking quietly, hand in hand when they think no one is watching. Now, this next part is important. The story of Cenk and Mahassine is not one of fireworks exploding in the sky, it's one of lanterns lit along a path. They met on a project, yes, and that project gave them the rehearsal room for something real. Their on-screen bonds spilled into long conversations and shared silences that felt comfortable instead of heavy. It's easy to forget that both of them are at a pivotal moment professionally, standing at the cusp of major choices. And in that pressure cooker, they found grace together. They protect each other's schedules, cheer each other's victories, and have learned when to withdraw from the chorus to hear their own notes. Friends describe Cenk's recent reflections as more grounded than ever. He is said to refer to her as the person who gave meaning to everything in my life. Those aren't the words of a man trying to feed headlines, those are the words of someone who has sat alone with his thoughts and found clarity. And clarity, in this business, is the rarest currency. Whenever he says her name, there's that particular warmth, like a spotlight soft enough to be flattering but bright enough to show the truth. It's the same warmth that sneaks into his expression when a journalist mentions her in passing and he doesn't need to play coy to hide how he feels. Meanwhile, Mahassine remains poised. She chooses discretion not as a shield but as a style. She knows that revealing everything is a quick path to losing control of your own story, and she has built her story brick by careful brick. Yet, around close friends, the restraint loosens. She is said to admit that this love feels solid, that she can imagine the horizon with him in it. It's a practical romanticism, the kind that can survive early call times, brutal critiques, red-eye flights, and the bright chill of a premiere's flashbulbs. The couple supporters point to their small acts. Their habit of checking in before big auditions, reading lines together to calm nerves, sending flowers when the other one wraps a tough week, and creating small rituals the public rarely sees. These are the stitches in the fabric, the ones that keep the cloth from fraying. And when the tabloids publish speculation, people who know them shrug, because they've already seen how the two stand beside each other when no photographers are around. Let's circle back to the phrase that started this whole fever again: marriage is very close. In the vortex of this industry, words like that can be tossed like pennies into a fountain. But this time, the penny landed with a golden ring of truth. Gossip circles are reading it as a chapter change. Not an ending, not even a climax, just the turning of a page to a new section where the stakes shift. Where couple becomes family in the language they use with one another, even if no papers have been signed and no announcements have been scheduled yet. What does this mean in practical terms? Here's what sources suggest, whispering as if carrying a candle through a hallway. The families have not only met but lingered, conversations stretched longer than politeness requires. There were toasts not to the past, but to what might be built. Travel plans are being coordinated, work calendars compared with a sense of strategy. No rush, no random decisions, just a deliberate sense of moving together. If an engagement comes, don't expect spectacle. Expect intimacy, a setting with significance, a ceremony of meaning rather than magnitude. The people who envision fireworks forget that sometimes the brightest light is the one close to the heart. Fans keep hunting for clues. Coordinating outfits that aren't exactly matching but hum with harmony, captions that echo each other's themes, a ring that may be a simple gift getting far more attention than intended. And through it all, the two of them keep breathing steadily, refusing to let the noise shape their choices. That may be the secret of why this relationship feels anchored, not adrift, because both of them have learned how to live around the camera instead of inside it. There's a story, told softly, about a night when they left a wrap party earlier than everyone else. It was chilly, the kind of air that tastes like promises. They walked without destination, talking about nothing and everything, their laughter floating over sidewalks newly emptied of sound. A friend who saw them from across the street said it looked less like a secret romance and more like a very old love that had finally arrived. It's scenes like that, the ones you can't choreograph, that turn rumors into beautiful possibilities. It would be easy to dismiss all this as fuel for gossip engines, but gossip doesn't usually come wrapped in this kind of steady tenderness. When Cenk says, "Everything in my life is taking shape," those are not the words of a man staging a storyline, those are the words of a man who has hung his photographs and finally feels at home. And when Mahassine says nothing at all but smiles at the mention of his name, people read the chapter titles written in her eyes. Will there be a surprise engagement? The whispers say it's not a fantasy. Still, their closest circle insists this won't be rushed to satisfy anyone's hunger for headlines. They've come this far by letting their own rhythm govern them. A rhythm built around trust, around shared breakfasts, around choosing truth over performance. It's tempting to predict dates and places, to attach a countdown to something that deserves no stopwatch. But if you listen closely, you can hear the distinct sound of two futures being carefully braided. Their careers will continue, perhaps with new boundaries drawn around what matters most. He will keep choosing roles that honor the craft rather than the clamor. She will keep seeking stories that stretch her artistry. And somewhere within those choices, there will be room for Sunday afternoons spent without makeup or microphones, for traveling not to be seen but to feel the sun on their shoulders, for dinners where the only spotlight belongs to the laughter between them. In the end, what lives beyond the rumors is this: two people who met in the middle of pretend and found something very real. The kind of real that doesn't need 1,000 posts to prove itself. The kind of real that allows a man to finally say the words he's been turning over in his mouth for months: life partner. The kind of real that lets a woman protect her heart by opening it to the one person who won't misuse what he finds there. So yes, the talk is loud tonight. But beneath it is a hum of sincerity that doesn't fade when the credits roll. If marriage is very close, as those trusted whispers say, then this love story is stepping into a new frame. One that contains not just two beautiful faces, but a promise. And if this promise keeps unfolding the way it has so far, then the best part is still to come. Thank you for watching Secrets Behind the Stars. If you felt the warmth of this story the way we did, remember to subscribe to Secrets Behind the Stars and share this video with those who root for love that grows quietly and holds steady. Until next time, keep your eyes on the sparkle and your heart tuned to the truth.